Hey guys, welcome back. It's going to be coming to you for another video for Raidshadowlegends. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're looking after yourselves today. We're one step closer to the weekend, and damn, I can't wait until the weekend is here. I am looking forward to having a beer or two or three. So definitely we'll be having a beer tomorrow. We've got some Wingstop on the way as well, so looking forward to having some Wingstop. And it's like the best chicken you can have probably in Jakarta, so it's definitely there. Anyway, let's see, have a look what's going into today's events and stuff like that. I'll drop timestamps down below if you want to get straight to it, I suppose, and stuff like that. I just want to kind of have a look at this champion training event and kind of put my own personal thought on it, right? There's also another interesting event here. It looks like it's a soul of some sort. Interesting. Let's have a look. So we've got a champion training event going on. Obviously, man-eater and stuff are available for certain levels. I'm not going to go into that. But damn, this has been available a couple of hours now, and someone's already put up 7,000 points, which honestly isn't that much. Good rewards, actually. Fairly good rewards. It's definitely tempting to go for this. And stuff like that. Legendary tome as well, and some dust. 7 dust is quite a bit as well. It's hard to get 7 dust. So yeah, rewards not too shabby. Shame that this is not a full primal, but Plarium like to be a bit of a tight bomb. And a legendary tome at 10,000. Normally a legendary tome is at like 11,000 points or 14, so it's pretty fairly good. And stuff like that. I will be doing that event for myself. It's for the rewards, it's quite good. Will I be going for the champion? Not really. I don't really take part in these type of events. It's just absolutely shocking. I've got the resources to do it. Do I want to clear out my chamber of resources? No, I do not. And if you either go in or out, that's my personal thing. Don't go for the snipe. You need to put up big points straight away and then go willing to go full out for the whole 4 days and tap if needed to be. Anyway, let's get into today's video. I wanted to showcase another +4 epic of mine and how I use him and where to use him. I'm trying to bring like more shed light to these epics and to these underrated epics that they don't get the accreditation that they need. Obviously with mythicals, legendaries in the game, and empowerment does bring them back into the power creep. And especially with Cursed City, you know, you can't always use legendaries there. So there is a lot of good top tier epics that people are sleeping on, and generally in how you should be trying to build them and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm talking about hostling or something like that. I can't pronounce his name, but this guy is absolute cannon of a champion and is really top tier. So I'm going to go through his kit very quickly. We have a defensor in faction crypts, which is okay. He's immune to stun on the passive, which is amazing. Increases his damage inflicted by all allies by 15% when attacking enemies under stun debuff, so he will get the extra damage, which is pretty nice if any of his allies are under stun. He does have like a remove all stun debuffs from all allies, and then places an increased defense and increase resistance on them for 2 turns. So he's defense based. He does hit like a defense, and he does bring his own increased defense, which is the strong version, and brings a weak version resistance up. So he brings like a buff to himself before he does that. It's a shame that there's no extra turn, but I suppose we can't be too greedy. Or attack all enemies, and he has a 75% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn. This would be 75% chance once he does that, and then he will decrease the target's turn meter of all enemies under stun debuff by 15. This is on a 3-turn cooldown, which is pretty nice. And then he'll attack one enemy. It has a 30% chance to place a stun on it for 1 turn, which is pretty nice, which is a 40% chance. Now, these guys' multipliers, which I have the information here, on his A2, he has a 4.1 multiplier, and then on the A1, he also has a 3.85 multiplier. Now, in comparison to multipliers, when we're talking about multipliers, his multipliers are very, very good. They're not godlike, but they are very, very good. And when you compare him to the legendary version of In Harmony, her multiplier on the A3 is a 3.9. So she's just hitting slightly harder than his A2. So his A2 hits harder than her A3. And then obviously her A2 is a single target ability, which is a 1.6, right? Which is pretty juicy. Obviously, she does ignore defense, and her stats are fairly better, but just comparing the multipliers against each other. Let's go ahead, take him into Dragon. Let's do a Dragon test on his damage, and let's see what he is producing there. Okay, so here we go. We are in here and stuff like that. So where do I use this guy? Really, I use this guy in Curse City. He's amazing in Faction Wars. He could be good for wave clearing, and he is going to be fantastic in Doom Tower and Doom Tower bosses. There is a few situations, like for example, when you face the minions on the birdie boss, he would be a very sorry, it's actually one of the dragons, which would be very useful. Stuff like that. So that is where he kind of comes in. He could also be used in early game content for 3 versus 3 as a defense based nuker, which brings really good survivability. Or you can also use him as a CC champion for the AoE stun and drop turn meter as well, mainly in 3 versus 3 lower level down. I would probably use him as a nuker in Gold 5 or lower level in Life Arena, depending on your roster. And that's the same with any epic champion, really. If you have Fenix, obviously you'll do Fenix because he's a fantastic champion and slightly better in today's champion showcase, right? So it is very questionable in who you invest in. My recommendations is, even when you watch videos like this, go ahead and ask for personal advice, or obviously in a cluster. If you're a newer player and stuff like that, I would definitely say jump in my Discord and drop me a message in my Discord group. My link is down below, and I reply to everyone when I have time, which is basically I'm quite quick on my replies. So that is definitely it. And if you want any advice in any type of content in the day, you can also go check out my stream where we answer all these questions and stuff that you might have about Raidshadowlegends. And in the day, no question is a stupid question. Right, so let's have a look then. We're going to drop this on a 1x multiplier speed, and we're just going to take a look at the juice that he's about to shoot out. So it's about 73,000 each, which is not too bad. As you can see here, we do have a AoE stun, which is pretty nice. And obviously we're going to come back in with the defense down. Now this is with increased defense. You do want to see a little bit more, but again, he does hit fairly hard, but not crazy hard. But he can definitely do that role. There is 70,000. 90,000 on AU1 as well. Don't forget, this is also Dragon 25, so it is a very high stage, right? So let's go ahead, let's take him into Arena, and then I'll show you all the gear and how I would build him and stuff like that. Alright, so we're in the Arena then. We're going to be looking at mainly speed teams and lower level crunch teams as well and stuff like that. So we are going to come in with like some type of CC, which would be like Lockout, or in this case him. We're going to bring a speed aura and an increased speed champion like Lysandra, Lady Kimmy, and then your fastest champion, which could be Arb, Suzerain, or in my case Sifi, right? A Sifi also bring myself increased defense. You can also use another champion like this as well and drop Arbiter and bring like a increased defense like Mfala, for example, to help you out. You just need speed during your team just to make sure that it works. So this is the team that we're going to run. Obviously, we're going to put Arbiter in leads. This will be really useful for us. And you want to make sure that we're taking on people with good affinity, so you have some type of advantage and stuff like that. So generally, when you get to a bit more of a early game, when you get past early game, once you've got all your dungeons and stuff done, you want to be mainly trying to come in and do a bit more in your arena and stuff like that. So he's definitely a very good epic, and he's definitely underrated as well. We're just going to drop this down as slightly and see what we can do. So that is about 50 to 99,000 on a 2 with a clear wipe, right? That's just pretty juicy. Now, obviously, we landed the AoE stun, which increases his damage from his passive ability. Sorry, that's only on them. That's not on the enemy. That would be working in his mastery zone. I was thinking that it's their enemy, and it's not. It's for only for himself. It's for allies only. So yeah, if they increases his damage if the allies are stunned, not if they the enemy is stunned. So false information. He doesn't get extra damage there. It's me misreading the kit wrong. But you know, if you're wrong, it's okay to be wrong sometimes, as long as you admit up to it. You can't always be right. So there we are. You learn something new every day. And there we are. We're going to come in like this. And then again, we're going to come in with a big boy nuke straight out. I think I've seen a 144 there on the tap-based champion there, which is pretty juicy. And again, we're going to come in here. Now, obviously, being a +4 is super nice. We don't have a blessing on him. So obviously for arena, I'd probably come in with like, I suppose cruelty would probably be the one to come for, and then cruelty again for Curse City, which is where I actually use this guy more than anything. I think he's top tier in Curse City for sure. Don't want to go against Hedgie. Hedgie can be a bit of a nightmare. Orishka again. Oh, I mean, yeah, I suppose we can play around with this one. We got increased defense and block buffs from Sifi, which again will give me a bit of an easy time. And then maybe we can see the damage increase as well once we land that. Let's see what we can do. Ideally, we take out Marishka first. Oh, we don't get just Marishka. She just had a swivel on her ability, so we're going to have to wait and come around with our turns a bit more. We'll play the A2. We could then come in with our increased defense and actually with that. So that's definitely adds a bit of survivability. I think in a second as well, we'll look at some go second teams just to kind of show you his worth, because he's probably got more worth in go second teams. But right now, go second teams are not so much meta with what's going on. So you can see there, we took off the defense, the freeze, which is pretty nice. And then we'll come in with some other bits and bobs, like so. And then you just keep going. You know, you maul them away. Once he gets his A3 background to be fine. Personally, we can do a strip there, which is going to be really useful. And then we will play this through in a second. Boink. That strengthen obviously is going to help him for survivability. Rishka is a fantastic champion if you do have her. Torment has been a bit of a nuisance, which again is fantastic. Torment, really solid champion. I think we forget how solid Torment can be in the arena, especially when you don't take in little bits and bobs into consideration. Torment catches me out time to time. It doesn't really tend to catch me out too much. It's just a case of he's got good survivability with the strengthen, and it's pretty useful. So I'll just try and go ahead. Want to take out Marishka first, because then everyone will revive, which would be pretty nice. But again, defense-based NUKER is fantastic to be, so we're not in any danger really of losing this. It's just a case of waiting for our AoE to come back round. Like so. There we are. Finally drops. Oh. UDK got a lot of Termite there, which is interesting. Go ahead and sheep. And once we have Python down, we will go ahead and carry on with this. We'll drop his turn meter. Again, you can actually bring out lockout. Lockout sometimes is slightly better. There's plenty of lockout champions now in Raid and stuff like that. You could bring in another type of CC champion, or you could use him as your CC champion as well, like so. Pretty nice. A bit long. Okay, so I actually finally found a Ghost Second team that doesn't have a UDK in the defense, because UDK is slow to take out. Obviously, the UDK is a problem for multiple of NUKERs for Arena. I think UDK is one of the most awkward champions still. So we're going to come in with ally attack anyway and do our stuff. We're going to bring the increased defense in. They're all locked out, so there's not much they can really do. Obviously, I had to bring in Stone Skin or some type of immunity to deal with Hedgie, because Hedgie is just Hedgie. And you can see there we actually got the ally attack background, which could be pretty cool. Now, I've only brought in Necrid in here because of the Hedgie. Obviously, I wanted to make sure that we don't get locked out against Hedgie, or even get nuked against Hedgie if we're not careful. You can never tell if it's a CC or not. And then you'll see here, pretty bam, pretty average. Now, we are quite high up in arena, so there is a lot of different types of teams that we have to go against, and it's going to be very interesting to kind of see what you can do with Epic. So, you know, we've got UDK here, for example, against Rodus, and then we have to deal with Candy. So we're good affinity, with defense base, and I'm just looking for like another champion that's not too overpowering to use, but will also bring me some survivability. I suppose Lady M is fairly good, actually. A lot of you guys will have her as well. Obviously, Duchess is key with the Veils. It's pretty nice. Obviously, we're going to be very careful against that UDK. We put up the shields against our thingy. Obviously, we get sheeped, which is pretty nice. And then bam, we're going to do that. Now, I should have really come with the A3, but hey ho. It's one of them ones. And then you can see here in a second, we can put all our stuff up. We haven't got any buffs, so we're gonna put the increased resistance up, because there is a champion there that could strip us, right? So you do want to try and have that. Even with Duchess, I think Duchess has around about quite a bit of HP actually. Sorry, resistance. I think she's got about 400 resistance. So that I've got about like 500 resistance. Pretty nice now. Obviously, we don't know how well that mana series is built, but you could take into consideration against certain champions with that extra utility. So I definitely do like that type of utility. And then obviously we're just going to wait for our ability to come back round. And then again, we can keep this safe. So again, we'll come in with a cooldown. Don't get a cooldown, unfortunately. Man series is not ready yet with that strip. Kind of interesting to see with that strip if it'll be any useful or not. And you can see there we're hacking away at the Duchess like so. We'll try and get A1 again. Don't get a cooldown. Lady can definitely be, sorry, Queen can definitely be very helpful with the cooldown, or doesn't do anything at all for the cooldown. I think she's still one of the best champions in the game. 50k there on A1. And then you just leave it to do auto, because obviously we're going to put shields back up. We're going to put increased defense back up, which is going to be very useful. We do get the defense down on us, but that's fine. You take a cleanser like Queen, for example, or something like that will help you. Candy was a little bit lucky there, but again, we're good affinity, so we should be fairly fine. And you should see it's coming like so to clean this up. Now, obviously, if you don't have a UDK, this Rodus is going to be very frustrating to deal with. So my recommendation is always taking the UDK. It doesn't matter who you're using a team. UDK should be the first person on your team sheet against a Rhodos, right? And I suppose we could take this guy on for funsies, because why not? And then we're going to take a look at his gear and stuff like that, right? And I think we'll just bring a lady, because why not? I don't actually need Arbiter in here to be speed tuned. My CF is the fastest champion, and they're both speed tuned anyway, so one of them ones. We can do the ally attack in a second as well. I don't want to sheep, just pointless sheeping, if I'm honest. Come in like so. A1 there. Bonk. Sweet. Done. Dusted. So let's go take a look at his build then and see on how he is built, and different recommendations and stuff like that. Okay, so you can see here we've got him in Savage P, so you can put him in Crawl as well for extra 5% ignore defense. However, he built him, so I want good speed because he's a defense-based nuker, good defense and good critical damage and critical rate. You can see we don't have a lot of accuracy here because it's mainly arena base, and these are kind of like the stats you want for Curse City as well, which was where I mainly use him. And in Curse City, you do want another about 40 accuracy, if so, as well, because around about 300 accuracy for Soul Cross is generally quite good. You can see they're quite juiced up. So we've got defense banner with defense percentage. We've got critical damage here with critical damage, and then defense with defense on it there. Defense boots with standard speed, and then defense and defense with critical rate and speed as well. And then critical damage with speed and extended critical rate. And then again, like speed across there, and then extra critical rate and speed like so. Now for blessings, again for Curse City, you could come in with a number of blessings. I think for Arena you could take Harvest Cast, depending on how many buffs you have. You could definitely take you could also take, what's his name? Let's have a look. I know it's on the tip of my iceberg. Cushion Rem, right? Cushion Rem you would take as a 6-star. Now you'll only take Cushion Rem for P versus P, like Curse City, for example, if it's a 6-star. If it's under a 6-star, it's 5-star and down below, you're gonna go with Cruelty, which is here, right? And then there is the new one as well, where you got Wrath, Nature of Wrath, which can increase his damage when he puts the stuns out, right? He only puts out the stuns, and that's the thing, and it's not 100% chance to put out the stuns. So I don't feel that this is a viable blessing for him, because I don't feel like you're going to get the full recommendation from it. So yeah, I mean, you're going to get 3% for each debuff placed successfully, and that's only if he lands it. So you could definitely, it'd be the inconsistency that would throw you out, right? So that is one thing to take into consideration. Now, masteries, I would slightly change them up for Curse City. I will use Raid Bro in a second to kind of go for this. Now, for Arena, I would come in with Shield Breaker and Keen Strike, and then we're going to come in with Ruthless Ambush, and then Optimus, because we use on the Barbarian, Cycle of Violence, which will take on any nuker really, and then Hammer Smasher, and then just come in here for extra accuracy. And then not too sure why I actually took that. Maybe I should have took a Spirit Haste there. I think it's own personal habits. And let's have a look at the masteries I would take for Curse City then. So the Curse City masteries would be slightly different. I probably would come in with the support still. Come in like this for the support. Just Spirit Haste for extra speed. I don't see anything else here that can increase the snipe, because it increases the stun, because it can't. And then I'd probably come in with Heart Glory. I'll probably come in with Light Drinker as well. I do like Ruthless still, but then I'd probably take in Wilt, and then I would probably look into, depends on your teams, right? Because like if you use a stud set, you can definitely use this. But I think for consistency, I'd probably still go like that. And then I'd probably still come in with Hammer Smasher as well as a tier 6. I think this is definitely a slightly better route to come for Curse City content, mainly in general, because I do use mine all the time in Curse City. So that, I think that's definitely more of a ideal mastery tree for that. So that's definitely something to kind of look into, right? Which is my recommendations. Anyway, guys, hopefully you like this. I will be looking at a couple of more epics over the next couple of weeks for arena, and generally just to try and shed extra light on epics we don't see in Raidshadowlegends. And I think it's always good to kind of invest in a champion where you can see of utility. Would he be the first person on the team sheet? No, he wouldn't, but he would be someone I could use on an on a 3 versus 3 or lower level in live arena as a backup nuker, especially if you don't have like a solid spirit nukers as well, and especially as well if he's empowered, because empowerment brings you like a lot, right? And then you can bring blessings as well, so you can definitely still juice up his stats quite a bit. I mean, I got 10 speed, 500 defense, like 40 accuracy, and then if you got blessings on top, that's even bigger. You can kind of just compare like Royal Guards or like a Tyrell masteries against them, right? Like you can see the juice here that the blessings will bring another 450 defense, and then the critical damage from the blessing, if you have a high level, but just a level 3 blessing would bring extra defense and help him, right? So there it is, really. That's my thinking about these videos, and hopefully you enjoy them as well. Please let me down in the comments what you think as well. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. I've been Grimreaper. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.